I go any further and start pulling like the vents off the car, I wanted to just tell you some of my personal history with G60s, and particularly with these vents. Growing up in the early 90s, my dad had an old white G60. Wasn't that old at the time, but he had a G60. And we did a fair bit of four driving. And so being a kid, I didn't know what these things were. I distinctly remember the triangle vents, but I didn't know they were vents. To me, their purpose in life was a map holder. These are catalogues, so they don't actually have a physical map on me at the moment. But we used to have maps of the areas we were going driving in, sitting in these things. You probably wouldn't do it over winter when you were using the heater, but when you're driving long in the summer, that just was a map holder. I didn't realise they had another purpose until I got my own collection and realised they're heater vents. So one of the stories I tell people about G60s is that I grew up with G60s and I have the scars to prove it. And there's that wind again. And I do have scars from G60s from these heater vents. So back in the early 90s, my parents bought themselves a house. Now, they bought the house in a remote mining town on the west coast of Tassie, which was being decommissioned. So the entire town was sold up and you bought a house and you relocated it. So they bought a house to relocate to their new property. And we spent quite a while down there getting it ready to be cut in half and moved, as you would, because the house isn't built for that. So quite a few weekends we spent down at the house site, from memory, and there was one, I think we were getting pretty close to being able to put it on the trucks and move it out. And there was a fence post or a stump or something that was in the way that needed to be gotten rid of. So Dad's idea was, we'll just throw a chain on it or a set strap or something, use a patrol and just pull it out, which was what he did. At the time, I was there, but I was bored, I think, so I was sitting in the car, probably reading a book, can't remember. And so Dad jumped in and like, we're gonna grab this thing. So, cool. But I didn't really twig to what we were doing, and Dad didn't really twig to the fact that I wasn't wearing a seatbelt or anything, so neither of us thought about it. And I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. So he got a bit of a run up and got to the end of, if it was a snatch strap or a chain or whatever, and it definitely jerked the car. And so I was sitting with this position equivalent, head butted myself into the heater vent. So I've got a cut in my forehead up here, where there's still a scar, if you're close enough to see it, from one of these vents. And my mum had to take me to the Queenstown Hospital to get it stitched up in the remote west coast of Tassie. And I can't remember if by the time we got back to the house site, if the house was already on the trucks or not. I've got a vague feeling it was. It's a very long time ago for me. Anyway, that's where I got my G60 scars. So, because of my personal memories of these vents, even if I decide not to put a heater back in this thing, it's going to keep the vents, because to me it's part of being a G60 and it's part of my history of them, and it's a good place to keep your maps.